Hey team, welcome to the Teamcpnz Quick Connect podcast where you can stay informed, keep connected and learn from each other along the way. I'm your team captain, Richard Greer, and on today's podcast, we're all about recapping an awesome May Meters challenge. It's been a huge one. We'll be talking to some of the movers and shakers and sharing some of the stories behind the numbers on the leaderboard. And there was definitely some big numbers to be had. We're going live right now, so feel free to get involved, share your highlights, or feel free to ask any questions of the crew that we've got on board tonight. So to get underway, we are going to put a bit of a recap of the month of May for a start. So as you'll see on the screen, we had 69 people got involved in our challenge. There was 1,669 activities that were logged along the way. We had a total of 27,000 kilometers, 2,308 hours of activity. We had a grand total of 789,131 vertical meters, which equaled a total of 89 Everests. So that's pretty impressive. And tonight's all about a few winners. This was part of this challenge, was to actually try and celebrate a few winners as part of this. And the first winner is actually Belinda Farmer, who picked 89.2 Everests as part of that. So she wins a prize, a pure prize package. So well done, Belinda, for that. So Sandra will be in touch in regards to that. And big thank you to Pure as part of that as well, getting involved and helping us out, flick a few prizes around the place. So well done, Belinda. You are already a winner as we go. So we're going to bring on board, first of all, we're going to bring the man who all of us were basically pretty astounded about what was happening, based in Wanaka. For those that had a look at his Strava and see where he was going and how he was managing it. But pretty much it was hill reps of Roy's Peak, I think. I'm not sure what his knees are like, but Will is looking pretty good, I have to say, as talking to him beforehand. So, Will, how are you doing?
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, and thanks for getting involved as well in this challenge. Give us a bit of background for a start. What do you do for work? Do you work? Feels like your work was climbing up and down a hill. And where do you live? Where do you sort of reside? Where's your playground?
So I'm from Nelson originally.
Yep.
Grew up in Nelson. Then I kind of split my time between North Queensland and Australia.
Yep.
Work on the boats up there. And then Wanaka, and this year I'm in Methven in Mount Hutt for the winter. So I try and spend as much time in Wanaka as I can. But from Nelson originally.
So were you working during the month of May, or were you actually in between work amongst those jobs?
That is the secret. I was not working for the month of May, so had a lot of spare time.
Yeah, good. Oh, definitely you weren't loitering around, that's for sure. You weren't getting into too much trouble, because either you are climbing up a hill and or lying down and sleeping between that, or eating.
100%. The recovery was the number one.
Yeah, good. So May Meters, what was your goal coming into it? Did you have a bit of a target, a number on the cards, or you just actually were just going to start climbing and see what happens?
The goal was 31,000, so 1,000 a day.
Yeah.
And that was based off nothing at all. Just, that seems like a cool number. 1,000 a day would be nice.
Yep.
So, set that at the start and gave it a quick crack and ended up getting the goal, which is nice. But 31,000 was the goal at the start.
Yeah, that is absolutely epic. And probably this is a good time to actually throw our run leaderboard up on the screen right now. So is that right? So there was 28,000 now I've got here. So did you do a few other meters, or how does that work?
I don't think that's completely updated.
Oh, right. Okay. So as far as the leaderboard, you're still the winner quite clearly. So we'll give you that.
Yeah.
But actually managed 31,000. So that's pretty impressive. And then Sarah, we've had on the podcast the other day. She was doing her Everest. Was there a point that you were like, oh, we're getting a bit competitive here? And she sort of ruffled your feathers by doing her Everest to 8,848 in one day?
100%. She started a little slow, so I got a bit of a head start, and then towards the end she pulled that out of the bag, so gave me a little kick up the bum to get up the hill a couple more times, which is always good. Bit of competitiveness keeps you going.
Yeah, it was pretty tough, and we'll talk about this throughout the podcast, but it was quite tough in terms of you're not quite sure what other people are up to, what their story is until things are logged. So you didn't really know what was kind of going on. Did that make you nervous?
Yeah, I think yes. My goal throughout the month would just be consistent. Try get out the door every day and do something decent. And
Yep.
if someone wants to try and double what I'm doing, go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. What was the toughest thing for you across the month?
The first couple of weeks. The first
Right.
couple of weeks sucked. Yeah. During the end, the body kind of got used to it, and it wasn't too bad wandering up the hills. But yeah, the first week into the second week was the body was still adjusting to the consistency of running downhill every single day.
Right.
So,
Yep. Did you go? What sort of shoes did you wear? Did you have some big cushiony shoes for all that downhill, or what were you going with? Did you wear a few out?
Yeah, so I changed shoes halfway through. I started with La Sportiva Bushidos for the first kind of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I transferred into the normal Chiracs and the Tamiya's towards the end. So a bit more cushioning as the month went on, which was nice.
Yeah, that's the story. And reflecting on your month, what was your favourite session? What was the best mission that you completed across the course of the month for you?
There's this loop. If you're from Wanaka, you probably know it. It's the Dingle Peak and the Corner Peak loop. So you go up and do both the loops.
Yep.
So that day was about 2,850 and about 25 OK.
Yeah.
So that was probably the highlight. I felt good throughout the day. That was very late in the month. So show me where my fitness was. And
cool. Going well as a result of that. We'll just put this leaderboard back up. I think we need to just sort of acknowledge everybody else as well. Chris Wilson, who had an epic month for third for 15,000, Jess Lamb for 11,000, and Annabelle Morris 9,000. David Manning also more than 8,848 vertical meters. Luke Henderson, Steph Levin, who we're going to talk to tonight as well, managed 7,200 vertical meters, and that's all on foot. And Lauren from Mifflin as well, actually 6,300, and we've actually missed Holly Gibson there too, so at 8,000. So some pretty impressive numbers, all on foot as well. So in terms of this for the month of May, have you ever done anything like this before, Will?
Not really. I did do May meters last year, but I got a bit busy towards the end of May, so I didn't really have competed as much. I think I like 17,000 meters or something. So I know I've never done a full month of just trying to get vertical meters, which is a bit of a different challenge, which is good.
Any advice for others that are lining up a similar challenge like this? Would you recommend?
Recovery. Recovery was number one.
Yeah, okay.
The consistency builds up over time, but being able to recover, eating well, stretching every night is the key.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
What got me through.
Yeah, you've done well to still be in one piece. So, do I ask this, or should I not? But will you be back next year, or do we need to hold off on that one?
Well, I think I have to. I can't take number one spot and not turn up the next year. So,
so good. That's awesome.
I'll get drawn into it.
Yeah.
May's always a good month.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's awesome. Well done. Congratulations. Well done for giving it heaps. Thank you. Pretty fun to see those numbers keep racking up, and awesome to be able to put a face to the name and all those numbers that are going ahead. So, all the best for the ski season, and plenty of other running missions on the cards.
Of course. Thanks for putting on the competition. It was great fun. Thanks for having me.
Good job. Well done. Well, we'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers.
Just like that. Nice work. Will Bixley have done super well. And the next, we just saw on the leaderboard there just a moment ago, we had Luke Henderson, who just snuck in. He was in 8th place there. Little story for Luke. So Luke is based in Dunedin, and his goal, like everyone had their goals, which I think is one of the real cool things around this challenge. It might be to 31,000 vertical meters. It could be to try and get the Everest. It could be just 5,000, 3,000, whatever. But Luke, as the challenge unfolded, he sort of saw himself on a couple of different leaderboards, and he actually had the challenge to see if he could finish on 3 different leaderboards, which he actually managed to do. So he was top 10 in the run walk. He was also top 10 in the cycling, and then snuck into top 10 in the overall by a whisker. I spoke to him prior to the end of May, and he was lining that up and basically was looking at his mountain bike, because he didn't do any indoor cycling, based in Dunedin. There was a southerly front coming through sort of in that morning. So he was up trying to do as much as he can before the southerly hit, and then hoping like anything that nobody got on, and did lots and lots of Zwift meters to sort of knock him off that top 10 leaderboard. So well done, Luke, for nailing your goal of 3 top 10s amongst that leaderboard, which is pretty impressive. A nice wee multi-sport type effort. Righto, we are going to dash across the ditch now, and we're going to have a chat to Karen. Karen, come in.
Hey, Rich, how you going?
Yeah, good, thanks. Now, we spoke to you on the podcast a few weeks back and introduced you as a runner then, didn't we? As your first ultra that you completed based in Tasmania. But to this month, I guess you've been doing multi-sport, but right at the end of the month, you thought, right, I've got some cycling to do. I've got this leaderboard to get to the top of. Talk us through your story.
Yeah, so I think at the start of the month, because I had a couple of the race. I had a trail running race, and then I had the gravel race, which actually contributed quite a bit of meters. But It was playing the delicate balance between not doing enough, but not doing too much, so that I was too tired for the racing, and that I still recovered, but could still contribute to the meters. So those first couple of months were kind of a bit of a delicate balance, trying to get enough meters, but still be able to race and do those things. So it was not until that last week that I was like, I really need to just get on my bike and put the other things to the side. It was
a pretty funny conversation on the Monday leading into the final week, and you were like, okay, we've been doing multi-sport, we've been running around the track, useless. We've been paddling on the flat, useless. I'm not going to do those anymore. I'm just going to go and ride my bike up lots of hills.
Yeah. And I think somebody commented in the group WhatsApp chat that we need to, petition to get kayaking on the main meters next year.
Because I don't know, maybe it was a watch glitch. There was 100 odd vertical meters coming from his kayaking. I'm not sure how he was paddling that.
I don't know, but I sometimes I got some meters from paddling. Maybe it's when you're paddling like upstream or something. I'm not sure.
Like that. Yeah. Maybe the waves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably pretty inefficient though, as much as anything. But so you did well just to go and finish that off and manage to get to the top of the leaderboard. You had a big mission though. Was it Mount Washington? Was that right?
Mount Wellington. So
Wellington, sorry.
So we have Mount Wellington's probably maybe 1,270 odd meters or something like that. So I mean, it's big enough. It's not massive, but it's a good, decent climb, maybe 21k from sea level. So just went and did that, and there's a few other good climbs up to like the base of that as well. So that was a good way to get some meters up, and it's a really nice climb. As well. So, and the weather was actually, I mean, it was cold, but it was actually pretty nice days for, those last couple of weeks in May, which played out really well. Yep.
Yes. That's awesome. Will spoke a lot about recovery because he was doing a lot and pretty much as a pro athlete to try and finish this. You're also a nutritionist as well. Do you have any sort of tricks or hacks that you sort of tapped into in terms of from a nutrition perspective?
It was just making sure to fuel the sessions properly. And that was a priority for like that month of May. And even leading into May, like I had a pretty big April as well. So it was, that was just like a non-negotiable, fueling before, during, and directly after those sessions. Like Will was saying, recovery was a priority, as well as fueling those sessions properly, so that you got the energy to get through them. And because in those last couple of weeks, and especially in that last week, you're pretty fatigued. Like I was pretty fatigued every day, like trying to get on the bike and still do some running. I didn't want to let everything kind of go. So I was but it is very helpful. Like, in the chat, you're not the only one who's feeling like this. Like it's a completely normal feeling. And you kind of just have to push on. So making sure that you actually have the energy on board, and then you can get your head into the right place you can push through. It's amazing what you can actually push through.
You spoke about the chat, so the WhatsApp chat. Not everybody that was involved was on that, but there was some pretty good comments and things. Just let this stop. Let's please, can this be over? How did you find that community element? Obviously, you live in Australia and Tasmania. In terms of being part of that.
Yeah, well, I actually came to the chat a little bit late, and I think I came in at exactly the right time when I was questioning, should I, I'm pretty sore, should I keep going? Should I just do it a little bit more? And when you see, you're not the only one that's feeling that way, and it's so it's perfectly normal, part of the challenge when you're trying to, push, I guess, that much. And I was doing mine outside, and I was looking at the people who were doing the indoor meters, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know how they're actually doing that. And so it makes it much easier to just keep going. Even if you're not super active in the chat, you can see what else is happening, and you're like, I'm not alone in all of this. I'm not the only one who's feeling tired and needs a little bit extra.
Yeah, that's right.
To keep going.
Let's put the top 10 leaderboard up now for the cycling element. So we've got that. So Karen Hill on the top with 19,000. So obviously there's a bunch of other stuff going on as well. Aaron Scott, Brian Prestige. Brian was at the top of the leaderboard for a lot of this, wasn't he? He was actually on a bike trip around South Australia, I think, at the time. So he was just getting a bunch of meters in that way. Did you do any research? Did you see who else was doing stuff out there?
Well, not really, because I had, when I sort of was looking at mine, it was a bit of run and bike kind of combined. So I didn't really know where things were at. I think last time I looked, Brian was in first. I was in second. I'm not really sure where Aaron came from or where he was placed last time I even looked. But I was a little bit unsure actually how it would play out in that last week, and because the last day of May was on the Saturday, I was
which is
everybody the opportunity.
Which is probably kind of fair, but I think a few people were like, oh God, it's on a Saturday if it was only on a Friday.
Yep. So I wasn't sure if people would go out and do another Everesting or, pull out some crazy meters on the last day. So
obviously
go and do whatever you could, and then that would have to be enough.
That would have to be enough. That's exactly right. Yeah. Obviously, Aaron did a good job for getting up for second, wherever the heck he come from. So that was awesome. But just another couple of names actually on that list as we put that up. Vicky Robinson, we talked to her on our podcast a week or two ago. Actually, no, we haven't, because we haven't released that yet. She did all her meters. Look for that for next week. She did all her meters as part of the top of the South Kaharangi 500, riding the old Ghost Road, the Heathy, and actually doing some real world meters there, which is pretty awesome. So I got her underway. And also a special mention to Todd Portman, who just clicked over his 8,800 in the final week. Always love a quick dash to the finish line to be able to sort of tick off that goal. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Vicky's ride would have been fabulous.
Yes. And she was riding all day, every day, and that's definitely the way to get those meters going well, in the same way that Brian was doing, just going bike packing. How good.
Maybe that's not a bad idea. Just organize a really awesome bike packing trip for the month of May.
There we go, lock that in. Might just do that. It's a very good idea. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I might have a few takers. But then there might be sort of, are you in your tent? You're not riding up and down the hill? Hang on. You're supposed to be lying down there. No, that's awesome. Brilliant. Hey, thank you so much for being part of our community, Karen, and well done on a fantastic victory, taking out the outdoor biking top 10 for the vertical meters for May. Great job.
No, thanks. It was a challenging and fun month.
Yeah, you've done well. You can deserve a lie down shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, catch up soon. Cheers, Karen.
See ya.
Bye. Just like that. And right, on to our next leaderboard that we've got here. Now, this is the 50th percent and the 80th percent. Now, I got a bit of stick from our coaches meeting, actually, thinking that there's going to get a bit of silliness going on here based on experience and based on what's happened before. There has been people taking this to the nth degree, which exactly is what definitely happened. So I said we need to make sure we keep this open for our community, for people that are not going to spend all day on Zwift, etc., that are going to set their own targets, that we've got a chance to kind of potentially win something as part of this. So we've got a 50th percent and an 80th percent of the total. So there was 69 people in total, and let's have a look if we've got our 50th and 80th percent. Hopefully this is right, because it was a little edit, and hopefully Sandra's been in here, and I'm just going to throw it up, and she has got it right. So we've got Clive Horn was the 50th percentile, and he finished with 9,461 vertical meters, and Hamish Horn managed to come in at the 80th percentile at 3,853. Now, I'm not going to tell you who was just above and just below those. We'll release the full results so you can have a look at the spreadsheet and sort of see how you got on. But well done for those two guys that managed to get that. And I'm not sure if Hamish and Clive are related whatsoever, so we'll have to figure that out later on. But well done for you two for being involved. Right, we're going to mission on, and another one of our sort of community that's involved in this event and goes away, has an awesome story actually, and I'm just going to bring her on and we're going to have a chat about that story and share it. So Steph, welcome to the podcast. How are you getting on?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, that's so good. You've been involved in our community for a little while now, done a few May Meters challenges. How did this one compare to what we've done previously?
I think just having the leaderboard and seeing what people were doing was quite, motivating and quite a challenge. Just seeing what some people do is quite awesome. Yeah. It
was, yeah. I guess for me, I sort of see that because I'm sort of connecting with a number of people across the way, but everybody could see that this time. So it sort of drives you on. And if there's somebody that's just 200 meters ahead, maybe I'll just do that a little bit more, and I'll just poke my head in front of them, which was cool. Did you sort of see yourself, did you have any sort of targets along the way? Just I needed to be slightly in front of?
I was just more a personal one, trying to beat what I did last year. So my biggest goal was to get more than what I did last year, and that was my aim. Good.
And how did you go with that? What did you do last year and what did you do this time around?
I think I was just around the 12,000, and I did 12,300, I think, this year.
Oh, perfect. That's good. So I was going to ask about next year, but we won't. We'll hold off on that. But your Meters for May started off with a hiss and a roar. You were part of our Adventure Squad mission that we went up to the Kelly Range, didn't we, on the West Coast, and climbed a whole bunch of vertical meters up along there. That was a particularly well planned. I planned that months ago that we were going to do the first Adventure Squad, and there was going to be plenty of vertical meters, purely as a selfish thing. But the trouble for me is it pretty much took me out of the next week because I was so sore after it because I hadn't done much running before that. So you did that one, but part of that others might not realize is that you and your husband were planning to head over to the league because it was a Magic Round. You're a big league fan over in Brisbane. So, but you actually stayed behind to do the Adventure Squad instead of going over to Brisbane for the Magic Round for league.
Well, it was a boys' trip for Magic Round, so I wasn't really invited.
I didn't realise that. Oh, you weren't actually invited. I didn't realise.
But it was, squad training was there too, so I didn't mind. Yep. But it was, Matt went over, my husband, for Magic Round, and then he was like, oh, you could come over and then we could travel up to Townsville where we have a nephew that plays for the Cowboys, and we could go watch his home game the weekend after, and we could travel up there by car and do some things. So, I was like, oh, it's May though. What am I going to do? I've got to do vertical meters. So then it was on the computer and sort of working out where we were going to be traveling each day and what hills I could find each day to go walking on.
And how did you go with that? You don't think Southern Alps, but there's plenty of hills in Australia. How did you go driving from Brisbane to Townsville and stopping in a few hills, finding some of those?
Yeah, it was great. It was actually really, it was really enjoyable and just got us out into places that we probably wouldn't have gone. And just, after driving for 400 odd Ks, it's quite nice to be thinking I'm going to get out for a walk or first thing in the morning, get out and do something rather than just, you arrive somewhere and have a look around. So yeah, it got us into some cool national parks that were over there. A bit worried about some of the terrain and what creatures might have been running around some of them. Well, Matt was. I tried not to think about it too much. But, it got us into some really cool spots. And we just, would pull up and, I think he was sick of hills. But, I quite like them, so I didn't mind too much.
Did you ever get into a place that the track wasn't quite what you thought of and you're like, maybe we shouldn't be here?
Yeah, we tried to find one in Townsville when we got up there. It was on our list. And we were also just looking. We couldn't find it on any of the maps. We couldn't find any information about it. And it was just someone had put a review, but it was like a couple years old. And they were saying how it was hard to find the track and it was a K back from a certain place. And Matt wasn't too keen to walk in any long grass whatsoever. So we got there was no sign, there was nothing, didn't really have maps or well-equipped gear with us and equipment to go out for too long. So it was kind of like, let's not go on this one. And then we saw a few signs about being where crocodiles too. So it was like, I don't think we'll do this one.
We'll just wave the white flag on this one. Well done for having a go. And then you went and found another hill instead, did you?
Yeah, we just went down into Townsville and went up there, Castle Hill, which everybody walked up, and it was really good. Okay. And it had a few different, you could walk up the road or you could go up the summer track. And so, we did that quite a few times.
Nice.
I got to know it really well.
Yeah, good. So you didn't let Matt away with it without sort of coming for a walk on that day?
He pretty much came every day except for the last day that we were flying out. I got up early to get my meters in.
Oh, good job. So there was another comment that you shared with me around May and your vertical meters and Matt mentioned that I'm never going on a holiday in May again. Was that correct? Yeah,
I don't think he's ever going to plan a holiday in May. And all our friends laugh about it too. We'll probably never go away in May again.
That's so funny. That's so good. Yeah, but from your perspective, you had a great time exploring somewhere new. How good. But maybe might need maybe a little bit of water under the bridge. Maybe in February next year, Matt might have forgotten about that.
Yeah, he probably will.
Well done, Steph. So good. So I'm going to officially name you as a Coach's Choice Award for your dedication for getting out and about and not letting a holiday get in the way of plenty of vertical meters. So, yeah, well done. Super dedicated and having lots of fun along the way. You've done well.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well done. Take care, and we'll hopefully see you this weekend, maybe for another Adventure Squad adventure.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, you take care, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers, Steph. Nice work. And let's just throw up the next one, which is our coaches leaderboard. I'm going to throw this up, maybe without Amanda on the chat just yet, but we're just going to throw this up. I can see her in the background. But I'm just going to have a chat. We'll come to the Amanda and Aaron in a moment, but I just want to have a quick chat about the Richard and Tim managed to take out the podium position at third place at 13,000 vertical meters and Tim at 12,000. So just had a bit of an eye on Tim as the month kind of ticked down. And as Saturday went on, saw that Tim had been out for a ride in the morning and he had ticked over 12,001 vertical meters. So I'm like, feels like 12,001 is his goal. He's done his ride for the day. That's about it. I was only about 500 ahead. So I went out and did a wee run, added another 450 or so. So finished the day about 1,000 ahead of him and just thought, yeah, that's probably enough. Like it's a good hour and a half worth of effort to get up and beyond me. So, but did actually have a look at 7:30 that night just to make sure I was still ahead, and he hadn't done anything more, which was fortunate, and managed to stay that way. So well done, Tim, for being a good competitor. And we'll talk about Amanda and Aaron again shortly because they absolutely obliterated us. But nice not to be dead last. Righto, let's talk to the heavy hitters. We're going to bring Nathan and Craig onto the show. Nathan and Craig obviously went head to head. You guys will know their names, you'll know their numbers, but let's put some faces to those names, and I'll bring that coach's leaderboard down. Nathan and Craig, welcome. How are you doing?
Evening, Rich, Craig, how you going?
Kia ora, Tate. Good, thank you.
Good stuff. So you guys met just prior to this show for the first time, and said g'day for the first time. Nathan, let's start with you for your May Meters month. What was your goal coming into the May Meters?
I mean, I've done it the last couple of years, and we'd sort of said, and a couple of other people have said this as well, it's just to go for 1,000 each day. Seemed like a nice round number.
Yep.
And I was just thinking before too, the T-shirt. No one's mentioned the T-shirt yet.
Yep.
I think it was great. That was yeah.
I just mentioned, so the T-shirt was my idea because I need some more
clothes
in my wardrobe. But they're still coming. There was a bit of a hiccup with the printery, and they will be here in the next couple of weeks. So for those people that have ordered those, they will be here. So don't worry about that. And you'll be able to wear that with pride that you've nailed it.
Yeah. No, that was very important. That was important.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. That's brilliant. And what about
you? Sorry, mate. Way you go, Craig.
Craig, tell us your start of your month. How are you shaping up? Did your eyes light up when the month got underway and we started advertising this? So you were like, oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure. The only reason I signed up was really for the T-shirt. So
same again.
Yeah, but it was just ready to have that excuse in May to get a good base, I guess. And ideal opportunity. It just sort of got a bit more out of control as the weeks went on.
Yeah,
as Nathan is well aware.
Yes, shaking your head. Nice work. So, Craig, where did you obviously started with 1,000 vertical meters? Let's get underway. Craig, when did you sort of start to get competitive? When did it start sort of kicking in? And was Nathan's name ever used in vain around your house?
Yeah, it was actually a couple times. Especially in the sort of second last week or so, and I could actually see when Nathan was Zwifting at times, and I'd be like, oh, he's on again, and then the next night, I think there was one night, Nathan, when you weren't on, I was like, where is he? What's he doing? What's going on? Is he hiding from me? But no, it was good. We sort of pushed each other, I think, and I think that's probably why you got crook at the end of the month, mate, and I probably wasn't far behind you.
Yeah. Nathan, what about you? How did your month unfold, and when was the point that you sort of started to get a bit competitive around it? Because obviously that was
it was. It was really that thing. Yeah, talk about 1,000 meters and a bit of change every day, just to try and give me a bit of a buffer. Like there were a couple of days where I think I only did. Yeah, I might have just done a 45-minute ride. Like I might have just did a 500 just so I could.
Yes.
And then that weekend when every other person seemed to be doing an Everest, it was like you're just sitting there going, oh, I'll do a longish one, but I don't. And that was the reason why I didn't want to. I was doing 1,000 a day, was not have to do an Everest, really, because I've done a couple of those before, and they're horrible. They're horrible to do on the trainer.
Yeah.
So it was, and then it got down to that last week, and it just got a bit silly. There was sort of that back end of that, probably that third week, and I think Craig had a couple of big, longer days. I think he did a couple of rides, and you talk about my name getting taken in vain. The kids in my class got to know you pretty well. Every morning when they rocked up, because we doing a little bit of stuff around Everesting and Cerebrum Hillary and blah blah blah. And I said to the kids, "Look, I'm just doing this," and so I sort of shared it with them, and like, "Oh yeah, So every day I was like, "How you going?" Oh, so I bring the leaderboard up, and it was all looking good there for a while, and then who's this guy? They were saying, and then so it got down to the last week, and I don't know whether Rich has told you this, Craig, but the kids go to me, "You've got to bring your trainer into school." So and I was starting to feel, a bit rough the start of that week. So I think it was on the Thursday morning I took it in and set it up in class. And I'm lucky my boss is a cyclist as well, because he sort of came in and went, and just sort of turned around and walked back out again. Yeah, the kids. I mean, the kids loved it, but yeah, I sort of finished that ride, and then I saw you were riding in the middle of the day, and I was like, oh no, we're done and dusted now. I sort of came home that night, did a little bit, and went, that's enough. And woke up Friday morning, and I said to you, Rich, I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit of dedication, and then there's stupidity.
And you actually there was no got, like you sort of come down a bit sick as well, so you sort of wave the white flag.
Yeah. Oh no, I was crook. Yeah, no, I would have kept going. I mean, we sort of talked about doing an Everest on Saturday, and part of me was just so thankful I did get crook. I didn't have to do that. It was just no. So that was cool, mate. Hats off to you, Craig, because that was some serious grinding going on there.
Yeah, from my perspective, I was sort of looking at both of you, and like I think there was one day, Nathan, that you didn't do much. You just did a little bit in the morning, whereas Craig was underway, and to last week. Craig, you had a couple of days that you completely missed. Work was really busy, so then Nathan would get a few ahead, and I think he was almost. I felt like he was almost gone. He was like 2,000 or 3,000 ahead for a bit. So the toing and froing that went on, and I feel like this is what happened in the run one. It was about almost like breaking the other person's spirit. Like, what's the point? What am I doing? And I feel like Will did that when the day after Sarah did her Everest challenge, and then he went out and did another 2,500, and he was kind of away again. That was pretty tough. So to keep riding and to know the other person's riding, and as long as you're matching them, it's going to be about the same, isn't it? That's the challenging piece, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was quite hard when you'd get on and you'd see Nathan had already been on, or because we were pretty much climbing the same sort of hill, so I'd see when he was on. But I think it was on the Sunday where I said to Veronica, I said, look, we've got to stop thinking about Nathan, and we just got to make our own plan. So we're like, I said, let's do 50. And the plan was, I think we had to do 2,500 a day. So that was the plan for the week. And then
50,000 vertical meters was the plan.
Yeah. And if we Everested on Saturday, we would have done that. But then you rang me up on Friday, and it was kind of like, I felt like someone in a political party getting the call at an election saying that Nathan had conceded, which was amazing because my legs were shot, and I don't know how I would have got on doing Everest. It would have taken a long time on Saturday. So that was a great phone call to receive.
I thought I needed to because it's tricky for me because I coach both of you, and Nathan said, I think I'm going to do an Everest on Saturday, and then you're saying the same thing on the other side of it, and Craig's asking, do you think anyone's going to ask to do an Everest? I'm like, I'm not sure. I can't say that. So, that's tricky. But knew that you were going to, and heard that Nathan was pulled up sick, so I thought I needed to give you a call just to say this is what he's up to, and maybe wave the white flag. So what did you get up to on Saturday instead, Craig, of riding your bike?
Terrible day of weather here. We went down and watched the first 15 play down in Southland, and didn't do much at all. Had a bottle of wine that night, the first alcoholic drink I had for a while, so apparently it was going pretty well. Nice.
So what were the obviously you guys went deep into this, and what were some of the learnings as part of that maybe you didn't quite see, sort of thing, as part or the takeaways or the benefits, positives out of this, Nathan?
Probably from having done it in the last couple of years, I think the biggest thing was pacing a little bit better this time. Rather than going full noise too early, actually, and the other guys have mentioned that as well, just about fueling and recovery and making sure you're eating well and resting. And also about the fact, I think we talked about this on Monday, was that you've got more time than you think you've got in a day. It's actually, where you're actually sitting there, sort of sitting on the bike, and well, what else would I be doing sitting on the couch? So, to actually use the time you've got and use it well. So that's probably to be fair, that's my big takeaway from it.
Yep. And the family knew where you were? You're just on the bike over there in the corner in the garage or wherever?
Yeah, they sort of, it's that whole, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Like, they know I need to do it, and if I don't do it, I'm a horrible person to be around. So I did just say, and they're so good, and I mean, I think everyone's respective other halves and families sort of realised what this sort of stuff means to us. It's a big part of our lives, and it's yeah, but it's certainly over the next couple of weeks I'll be making up some brownie points.
Yeah, good. I think that's probably goes across the board.
What is that a good answer?
Yeah, that's a good. You've done well there, because that'll be snipped and recorded and put
back. Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Craig? What were some of the takeaways for the month for you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Nathan, big shout out to the family, I guess, because it is a big part of it. And they're like, end of the month, and what are you doing? Like just getting a bit carried away. But probably finding. I guess the range of activities, I sort of, tried to mix things up a bit at the start with a bit of outdoor stuff as well, but that sort of changed over those last couple of weeks when I was just trying to keep up with Nathan, and just ended up being indoor on Zwift. So it's hard though. I just don't know how those other guys did it that did those outdoor meters like Will and that. So shout out to them. But I'm just, I guess I'm excited to, I think, you've coached me a bit in the past, Richard, and had a few years off and back into it sort of May last year, I think, or late May last year. So it's kind of exciting to have all the space in the legs and just to see, where to from here, really. So there's some cool stuff coming up to do. So just looking forward to, utilising that. Lost a few kgs as well, bit of sweat in the garage. So, so very cool.
So both of you sort of at this point of the year, as a result of like a pretty honest May, not doing heaps of hard stuff, but just kind of consistently riding, mean that you're both sort of actually in pretty good shape right now. Going well, legs are strong and fitness is good. Would you agree, Nathan?
Yeah. I think, again, it was, I mentioned it earlier, was, I just had a really pretty average sort of last 4 or 5 months. A lot happening sort of with just sort of work and life in general, and sort of lost a bit of mojo. And it was just really cool to have this pop up and go, this is sort of just what I needed, just to reset and have a bit of a target. So those guys, like as Craig said, the guys who did it outdoors, and I know if Mark Talbot's watching, I don't apologise for using Zwift. It's I enjoy using it, and honestly, but the guys who are outside, like Will and the other team, far out. That's pretty awesome, and we can sit there and spend a bit of time watching. John Wick's my go-to to switch off for a few hours. So, but for those guys, that's great. But really looking forward to getting into the rest of the year now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. So just putting up that top 10 leaderboard. So Craig on the top with 41,000, Nathan at 36, Amanda coming in at 34,000, Will Bixley with 33, Greg with 26,000 on the bike outside, Ben Jordan who did an Everest, and a big shout out to Ben, to Sarah. And also Amanda, who did a full Everest, that 8,848 vertical meters in one hit, in one sitting, which is pretty awesome. Karen, who have had on, Vicky, who have talked about, and to Luke Henderson for rounding out that top 10. So that's pretty awesome. I need to, Craig, there was a couple of, I think I made mention in the chat a couple of times around, it's those marginal gains, those 1%ers. Seeing you out at lunchtime, I think it was kicking the ball around, that was 5 vertical meters, and a walk outside for 4 minutes, and that's 16 vertical meters, like a 15-minute rule. Was it 1 vertical meter?
I didn't realise the 15-minute rule, but my offsider at work here, she plays rugby for the Otago Spirit, so I was like, we weren't being very productive. I said, we need to get out of the office for 10 minutes and kick the ball around and then come back in and get into it. And so she kicked my backside in the full specs, and then we come back and got some work done, but at least I got some meters out of it. So I think it was just over 15 minutes. So it all adds up, I thought. Take what you can get.
So that's the dedication we're talking about here, people. That's what it takes to go all the way. No, you've done well. Hey, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for being good sports, and well done for having an awesome month of May, and look forward to seeing what we can do with all that fitness and strength that you've built as part of it.
Sweet. Cheers, Rich. Well done, Greg. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, mate.
Nice work. Just like that. Big finish. So well done to those two guys. Right, we're going to bring Amanda on to the show. Coach Amanda, how are you getting on this evening, Amanda? Oops, I can't hear you. Don't have any sound at the moment, unfortunately. So just while we're doing that, just maybe unplug everything as part of that. Is that better? No, we still don't have any sound. One question I was going to ask Craig and Nathan was the toast question of how toasted they were. But then I was going to jump on and see if we could ask Amanda that. But don't know if we've had too much sound. But Amanda, battling away. No, that's good. So just to wrap up, Amanda did win our coaches challenge well and truly, 34,000, third overall as part of that, and did super well. Amanda, we got some sound now? No, we still don't have any sound. So that was pretty impressive. But what I wanted to talk to her about was the bribe of the custard square if I stopped Zwifting, which happened in sort of week 1. So looking forward to seeing what we can come up with for that. And a couple of comments that have come out here as well that we need to share as well. Rachel Wells has said, can we have a couple of age group categories next year? Maybe a 0 to 52 years and a 53-year plus category. Might need to work on that. And Brian Prestige, who was on the top of the bike leaderboard, also said that the Plains of the South Australia put paid to his leaderboard as well. Amanda, are you there?
Good time, Lucky?
Yes, we've done it. Okay, Amanda. Yes, you are there. Fantastic. How are you feeling now? I'm going to bring up that picture, and you're going to tell me how toasted you were at the end of May. 1 being completely burnt, and 9 being, I'm only lightly toasted. I'm just getting started. Where were you at?
So I'm pretty good now. I'd say like I'm a 9. Although I did say this to my pump class before I taught last week, and I was like, oh, I've come off pretty good. Picked up the bar, and I was like, I'm not good.
Okay, right. So that is a few days afterwards. If we'd put that to you this time last week, maybe it would have been a different story.
Yeah. No, but feeling good now. Stoked that it's over. Like I'm sure people are.
You've done so well. You were you've got the screenshot of you at the top of the leaderboard. But then the guys got away. But was your goal to see if you could remain in third? Was that sort of what the goal was towards the back end there?
Yeah, I think a week out I had my 4-year-old son's birthday party, which took me up for 2 days. And in those 2 days, those guys got quite a bit of a gap on me. And I was a week off in Everest kind of thing. And I was like, I'm going to hit, so it was to try to retain third at that stage. And at least, I think at that stage it turned to, okay, let's try to keep a female on the podium of the top. But then Will was closing. And so I don't know, I was just dreading, and my partner could say it was just like I was updating that leaderboard
refresh
last day, being like, what is Will going to post, because I don't know if I would have had it in me to jump on and do another few hundred on that Saturday night to get it across the line. That's right. You've done well to hold on to that, because that was a big effort. Like obviously you did your Everest, which was huge, but then you kind of had to keep going. You couldn't kind of just stop after that, which is what most normal people would do after doing an Everest challenge like that. Yeah, well, I feel like you started it. I wasn't actually competitive. I was like, okay, we're setting this up to get my Zwift badge after 8 years. The one badge that I have never got. And so I was like, okay, that's the goal this month. And then what? Were we like 12 hours into it, Richard? And you sent me something that was like made it a competition. And I was like, okay, well, now it's on.
What was that? Was that just the fact that I was ahead of you? What was that? I don't recall.
I think it was like a screenshot to the coach's kit. Wasn't it like that you were 10 meters ahead of me or something?
Well, and then you got back on, you were in your jammies, I think, weren't you? And jumped back on Zwift to get a few more ahead of me. But I'd gone downhill, and as a result of going down on Zwift, I'd done a few wee ups, and actually, instead of being like just 10 meters ahead of you, which you went and got those extra 10, I was like 80. So then you're like, damn it. And that was what really got you, I think. And I think that was that moment that I poked the bear. It wasn't good for me.
On day one.
Yeah. And I think because you mentioned that you've do you take bribes? I've had enough of this. Was that day 3 or day 2?
I feel
it was
like
day 4.
Like the next morning was
something like that. And then you also mentioned that, like I said, I take bribes. That's no problem at all. I will take a custard square to stop doing this. You mentioned that you would have given me a whole tray of custard squares to make this happen if I just held off.
I think so, but then it didn't turn out you were my biggest competition. So I was like, okay. Then it was Aaron. I was like, how many bribes? I'm not going to be able to give out 70 bribes and also sit on 1,000.
Yeah, that's right. But little did you know that I didn't really rate myself very much anyway. So I was like quite happy to take that bribe early on. Like, yep, I'll take that. Thank you very much. Good. So we'll look forward to being that paid back at some point along the way.
Noted.
Yep. Yeah. What was your key takeaway? What was your learnings from this month of May for you, just to sum it all up?
I feel like it's the key takeaway of any of the things I've done. Like Nathan said, it was finding those kind of small moments. Like I did the same. I was like, okay, I've got 15 minutes. I can make it up one rep of rate. That's 300 meters. Let's just kind of tick that off and make the most of that. But more than anything, I've obviously been sitting on not doing an Everest for the 8 years. Every other kind of Zwift badge being like, no, I can't do that. Like that just seems too hard.
It's crazy.
Like who would do that? And so I think it was the push that I needed to be like, yep, you can do it. So on, it didn't need consistency across that kind of 4-week lead in to then push it out, and I could do it. So stoked to have that little nudge to get that one across the line.
You've done that. And there was another coaches meeting, like you didn't really want to say it, but you kind of said it. It's like, there's this badge that I think I might want. And it sort of just wound out from that. And we didn't push you, it just kind of happened. And then all of a sudden that's what you're doing. I
feel like there was a little bit of a push.
Maybe a little bit.
Amanda's doing an Everest. Amanda's doing an Everest. I'm like, oh, I feel like I can't back out now.
You've done very well. One of the key things for us around this challenge and other things as well, and we've got a couple of other things in the pipeline that we're not going to talk about tonight because we're just celebrating the month of May, is just building community and connecting people and sharing some stories, and that's definitely happened, and it's definitely a win, I think, as part of that, and ultimately cheering each other on across the finish line. So when they're out at the next event, real life, or just on Zwift, seeing people doing their thing, etc. Hopefully that's helped you connect to a few others around the place, and it's not just locally in Canterbury or Christchurch, it's across the world. I had Chris, who's based in England, and he was doing his vertical meters as well. So all across the board was pretty fun.
Oh, it was such banter across the, and like we all got behind, was it Ben Jordan, who was across the, ditch as well, get him through that. And there was so many people there on. It was so great to see.
Yeah, no, that's right. Nice work. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Amanda. Thank you so much for everybody for being involved. Super awesome. And onwards and upwards. And we'll keep you posted in regards to our next challenge. So take care, look after yourself, and we'll catch up soon.